So apparently there's been a Haitian invasion of Ohio, and the people of the United States are just waking up to this, because no one expected Ohio to be the target.
Nobody expects the Haitian Inquisition, do they?
No, I mean, as you can see from the image on the screen, this man is a member of Haitian armed forces. You'll notice
he's very well armed, isn't he?
He doesn't actually have a gun.
No.
He's holding this stick as if it's a...
Ohio's looking a bit run down these days, by the looks of it.
This is actually... The Haitian military actually disbanded in 1995. And they had some sort of militia in 2017, I think it is. But they're not exactly a military power. So you might be thinking, well, how did this happen? Now...
I mean, who needs an army when you can have stakes like that?
Well, I mean... just who knows?
Well, they don't need an army if they don't even have a civilization to protect by the looks of that picture. Look at the state of it.
Yeah, it's not great. In fact, from Stone Age Herbalist here, this is a great thread about Haiti, talking about how it is a turbulent place, and in the past 10 years, it's been quite crazy. Actually, there's a lot going on, and I'll let you read the thread in your own time, but it's pretty mad. How, I mean, it's not even the facsimile of democracy at this point. It's genuinely, it's a failed state.
Is it basically featuring lots of gang warfare where you have General Horseradish and General Brown Sauce?
Yeah, basically, yeah. No, unironically, that's basically it. But they try to have elections and democracy and stuff. It's fallen through.
It's wild to me that they got rid of their military. In an actual country, this would be utter suicide because you'd be taken advantage of. So it suggests they're so bad in their country that they're basically uninvadable. No one would actually want to invade their country and take it over because
There's
it's
nothing
so
there to take over.
Exactly.
There'd be no benefit to it. But the president was assassinated in 2021, and it's been downhill ever since. And so you are right, Stelios. There have been gangs operating all over the country, but particularly in Port-au-Prince. They've been fighting over slums as well. There's a particular slum complex that gang members were squabbling over for some reason. There's been hyperinflation, massive food shortages. Things are going down the tube. A normal person might look at that and say, maybe they need an intervention.
Yeah.
Maybe actually this would be a good time if the Americans are like, we're going to come in and liberate a country and set up a government. Well, actually, Haiti's quite a good prospect in that. And I think many Haitians might actually appreciate a bit of rule of law, order, economic prospect. Carry on. So there have been a lot of Haitian immigrants into the United States. As of 2022, there were 731,000 of them, comprising the country's 15th largest foreign-born population, and from 2019 through to 2021, they were the top nationality for migrants crossing the Darien Gap between Colombia and Panama, and are among the largest three groups in 2022 and 2023 crossing the southern border. So, as you can see, hundreds of thousands of them are breaking in illegally. Okay, you can understand why they're doing it. You might want to ask yourself whether you want hundreds of thousands of Haitians.
Well, there was a case where in 1 week there were 100,000 Haitians at the border, and that was just 1 week.
There are lots of them. And somehow they've arrived in the sleepy town of Springfield, Ohio. This is a very strange thing, because Springfield, Ohio is a sort of post-industrial town where things used to be manufactured. And then, of course, for some reason, the Americans decided we need the Chinese to manufacture everything we make. And so Springfield, Ohio went from a population of about 80,000 people down to about 60,000 people. Now, that's small, even by especially for American standards. I mean, the town we're in is 280,000, something like that. Yeah. And we're still not a city for some reason. So this is a very small place. And 20,000 Haitians just turned up one day.
That's horrifying, isn't it? You go about your life, maybe you've been working, 15, 20 years to make a life for yourself in Springfield, Ohio, and then
probably
you finally
born and raised there.
Yeah, you buy a house, the house that you've been eyeing up for years, and then all of a sudden the third world moves in.
Literally is what's happened. So, I mean, a third of the population just turned up from Haiti. Now,
almost like Lampedusa.
Yeah, very similar, actually.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, William the Conqueror conquered England with 10,000 men. 20,000 men is a very large number. 20,000 people turning was a very large number. It's literally a third of the town has turned up. And so the mayor, and this is Trump territory, by the way, so make sure that you keep that in mind. The Democrats are not like sending them to Martha's Vineyard. They're sending them to the Trump post-industrial Rust Belt. So the mayor said, quote, Springfield is now saturated. Mayor Rob Rue told the last commission meeting, this was in July, that they did not know about the possibility of a large immigrant population coming, but said a network of businesses knew what was coming, and the city's immigrant accountability response team that was formed last year to discover the possibility has discovered the possible companies knew they were going to make an effort to bring individuals who are crossing the border. Interesting.
So it was a coordinated effort from lots of private companies against...
Not just private companies.
No.
Of course the Biden administration is involved.
Of course.
Rue said he was upset the city didn't get the chance to plan for the immigrants. Because if a bunch of multinational corporations and the US government are going to dump, as well as a bunch of NGOs, are going to dump 20,000 Haitians on them in only a few years, maybe that requires a little bit of preparation if you are going to do this to us.
Well, surely they didn't have the infrastructure to deal with that massive influx, right?
Obviously not. Why would they? The city officials are, of course, asking for help from the state and federal government, but they're not getting it. There are Haitian-led community centres which are offering aid. Who's funding them? Like the new Haitian Community Help and Support Centre is led by Haitian community leaders, which Haitian pastor and president of the community centre boards, Villes Doran Saville, says gives it a unique position. And so many resources for Haitians are run by non-profits and local government agencies.
It's funny how that works, isn't it? It's almost like
incredible.
NGOs and transnational corporations are ruining nations deliberately to make money off of them.
Yeah. And when people are like, okay, but they're illegal immigrants, when are they going back? The federal government said, never. We're going to extend their status. So, of course, most Haitians are in America legally, but lots of them are there illegally. And Homeland Security officials extended the temporary legal status for Haitians already in the United States, which will allow lots and lots of them in Springfield to remain until at least February 2026. So they're not going home anytime soon. And of course, this frequently comes up. This is a subject that frequently comes up in the city's commission boards, where people, and we'll get to some of it in a minute, get to express themselves and say, I didn't vote for this. Why is this happening to us? Mayor Rue says, look, we're going to do everything we can to let people know this is our top priority because, I mean, what other problems could they possibly have? And as you can imagine, this has caused massive logistical problems in the town.
Obviously.
Again, Mayor Rue again says, this border crisis, the policy of this administration, is failing cities like ours and taxing us beyond our limit. This has overwhelmed safety services and caused great concern for the community. And city manager Brian Heck added the city does not have the capacity to sustain this pace of illegal immigration. It's taxing our infrastructure, it's taxing our public safety, it's taxing our schools, it's taxing healthcare, it's taxing our housing. And federal funding has actually been reduced over the last couple of years. So this is a partisan political attack on a Trump voting area by the Biden administration.
I mean, if you have an influx of a third of the population to a place, and you also cut down federal funding to support them, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, any kind of economic activity there will not be able to absorb a third of the population in the short run.
Well, the federal government have deliberately set up a situation that is impossible to solve.
Yes.
Short of a miracle.
Yeah. It seems that the Biden administration is deliberately immiserating a Trump voting base area. That's what they appear to be doing. And so he carries on this concerning to us as a community because adding 20,000, we need additional support, we need additional resources. Unsurprisingly, there was a write-up in the Daily Mail that explained why this is happening. And what I hated about this write-up, if the non-crime hate division don't bring me up for disliking something, is the way that is being framed, because it's as if it's the residents of Springfield, Ohio themselves who are responsible for this because they're being inefficient economic units.
This is a very subversive headline, by the way.
Oh, it very much is, yeah.
Surely
Also, it's
that
a
is
dying city.
Exactly. It's
a dying city that is enhanced by bringing across people who have been living in abject poverty, and this is somehow a solution to, the economic problems rather than a cause of more.
But the very notion of this is, well, if you're not economically growing, then you are somehow a burden. Like if the size of the city shrinking. Okay, so was it making the quality of life there bad? No one was complaining about it. But now things have got a lot worse since you've crammed in 20,000 new people who don't share a similar culture.
Let's improve things by making them worse.
Yeah.
That's their mantra.
Well, also the fact that this is a deliberate effort by the Biden regime to basically punish someone for voting for Trump.
Clearly.
Is that not an act of terror? Because the intended consequence of this for people's attitudes is that, if I vote for Trump, they're going to flood my country with some of the worst people at our southern border, and surely that's just trying to disincentivize it. It's basically an act of terror on their own population.
Well, sovereign is he who makes the exception, and if they declare it's not terror, then it's not. But anyway, so in Springfield, Ohio, the population fell from 1960 to 80,000 to 60,000 in 2014, and car factories closed, other industry pull out. And so this is literally replacement migration. They're like, okay, well, we need another 20,000 people to prop that up to encourage businesses to come back. And so it was in 2014 that officials put together a plan to save the town by convincing businesses to set up shop and provide new jobs. So Japanese vehicle parts maker Topra was one of the first to arrive in 2017, followed by a microchip manufacturer, a logistics company, and many more. And so about 8,000 new jobs were created by 2020, and they have only increased since then, but there were not enough workers to fill them.
But they're talking about it as if,
It's just an economic zone.
If car manufacturers are following Haitians around like seagulls follow a fishing trawler around, like they might...
It's the other way around. The Haitians follow the car manufacturers.
Apparently so, yeah. Well, it's mad to suggest that these 20,000 people, they're all involved in the manufacturing industry. I'm sure they've got all of the qualifications to create Japanese, refined technical car parts.
But what I find really interesting about this is just how much a part of the regime the Daily Mail is, right? Because this is the most regime reporting you can imagine, right? So the 20,000 came in just a few years, swelling the town's population, which was just 58,000, as if somehow they're losing out on anything by not having 20,000 Haitians living with them, right? The immigrants had social security numbers and job permits, paid taxes, and lived in houses that were empty and boarded up as the town shrank. What are the odds that they all had jobs, taxes, they paid taxes, and had social security numbers? Like, what are the odds? There are going to be loads of those who are illegals. Loads of them, right? And this, of course, has put a massive burden on everything. I mean, like getting an appointment at the local doctors, same sort of problem with the NHS. When you just have the same amount of infrastructure and then a third more population, of course, this causes problems. And there were more. I mean, there was a Jamie McGregor, the CEO of McGregor Metal Plant, said, I think the whole notion of migrants taking American jobs is hogwash. That's spoken like a person who has never made payroll or tried to run a business. The fact of the matter is, without the Haitian associates that we had trouble filling these positions. It's like, right, okay, so interesting. It's not that you can make the jobs more attractive, and if you don't need to make the jobs more attractive by, for example, importing low-wage foreign workers, then it's just not a problem.
Well, also, the notion that these people are just going to, you move them en masse to a place and they're just going to integrate perfectly into American society. That, they can work in the local McDonald's and, you can trust what's in your beef burger.
No, notice that the word integration never came up. Right? They don't care if they integrate. The integration is just not on the table. What they are economic units. I'm actually reading a book at the moment about the Assyrian Empire, just for fun, because I enjoy that sort of thing. And it's very much the sort of imperial Assyrian attitude, where it's just, no, we are going to deport large populations to Assyria to be workers. We're just going to take them and make them work for us. It doesn't, and the Assyrian Empire was a highly stratified, almost caste-like society, where, of course, these foreigners would be right at the bottom. They wouldn't be given various sort of privileges. We've got a kind of inverse of that.
We also need to bear in mind, and people need to bear in mind, that multiculturalism that progressivists are pushing forward has nothing to do with integration or assimilation. It's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
That's why they're not talking about integration.
Yeah. And weirdly, the Assyrians were way better at integration.
I'm not surprised.
The 10 lost tribes of Israel were lost because the Assyrians deported them to Assyria, where they were just absorbed and intermarried into the local population and stopped having their own ethnic identity. So that's actually what integration would look like. But of course, as you say, multiculturalism is designed to prevent that. It's meant to create small colonies.
It literally says that asking for this is bad.
Yeah. Anyway, so as you can imagine, there have been some tensions in this community that is being exploited as a purely economic zone. For example, in December 2023, there was a terrible accident where some newly arrived diverse Haitian man decided he was going to drive the wrong way up a motorway and hit a school bus coming head on, which killed one of the children on it. This was the first day back at school for these kids, and one of them didn't make it. And a bunch of others were, of course, badly injured.
This is, of course, the thing with migration, is that there's always a consequence for the native population.
Yeah.
And it's something that they shouldn't have to bear.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to ask Mr. McGregor of McGregor's Metals, was that a justified trade? You got some cheap workers. Someone lost their child, their son.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a justified trade? I mean,
well, this is what we should be putting towards people who advocate for immigration.
Yeah.
How many people have to die before you admit that this is a bad idea? Show them the examples and say, well, this must be acceptable to you, because that's what they're trying to ultimately do in both North America and Europe. Try and make us accept that murder is now a part of our daily life, when many of us are old enough to remember the world without it.
This wasn't a murder, this was a terrible accident.
Of course, yeah.
It was a really stupid accident. How do you end up driving the wrong way on a motorway?
It was something that didn't need to happen.
No, I mean, the guy who caused the accident was 35 years old. Sorry, you don't know that you're supposed to follow the flow of traffic on a motorway?
It's old enough to know better, yeah.
35? Like, if you were like 16 and you just got your driving license, okay, maybe I could be like, well, stupid mistake. But 35, come on.
Even for a 16-year-old.
Well, I know.
Basic human nature. You have survival instinct or something.
And so the city commission meeting on August 29th exploded with anger at the Haitian community in Ohio on this. For nearly 2 hours, residents came to the podium to speak. Some warned of an invasion of Haitians and the crime they would allegedly bring. Another person raged that the Haitian flag had been raised at the city hall as part of Flag Day celebrations. Again, why are you raising a flag there?
Conquest.
Again, integration just totally off the table. And 4 years ago, says the school district's director of federal programs, says, 4 years ago, we didn't have a Haitian population. That's how quickly this is happening. And that's how quickly this has happened to Swindon as well. Like, it's just instantly, boom, tens of thousands of people have turned up.
Well, it's not organic, is it? It's government policy.
Yeah. But, again, organ of the regime, Al Jazeera here, what I've done is presented this article back to front, because at the front of the article, Sony Augusti remembers 18th of May well. It was a warm, sunny day in Springfield, Ohio, and a crowd had gathered at the Veterans Park Amphitheater, where a line of canopy tents were decorated with red and blue balloons for Haitian Flag Day. Live performers have been flown in from outside of the state to blast Caribbean tunes. The city's burgeoning Haitian food scene, which we'll get to in a minute, a mix of newly opened food trucks and unadorned cafes, I'm sure the hygiene standards are incredible, served mountains of plantains, stew and rice.
Not a human leg in sight.
Yeah, on the other side of Buck Creek, at Springfield City Hall, the Haitian flag was raised and the country's national anthem played. And then someone killed a child because they're an idiot. I could feel the connection with the other Haitians. I felt at home that day. To know that we have that was a big surprise. But in the months since, a pall has fallen over the city's Haitian community. Right, they're the real victims of a Haitian man accidentally killing a child. Anyway, let's move on before I get angry about this. So, J.D. Vance has been really strong on this. he's been banging the drum about Springfield, Ohio for ages now. And he's completely right. He just summarizes basically everything I'm saying here, so I won't need to go into it. And so the council meetings have been getting a bit out of hand, right? They've become a bit of a flashpoint, and the internet has noticed them. Now, sorry that this is on its side. I didn't put it up. But I think it might be worth watching this because you can see that there are direct tensions, and people from the internet have noticed this as well.
Higgers? Good evening to the people of Springfield. You don't know who I am. My name is Nathaniel Higgers of Blood Tribe. I was at the head of the anti-Haitian immigration march earlier this month. I'm sure the Honorable Mr. Rob Rue recognizes me, considering he supposedly knew of our action before we even arrived.
He's a literal Nazi. He marched with swastikas.
First of all, I would like to dispel the myth that you knew of our march and intentionally had no reaction or made no forewarning about it as a preventative measure. You had no more idea than the police officers or Haitians. And it's frankly insulting to our organization to make such a claim.
So I'll stop that there just so you can see that there have been Nazi marches against this, and they're not happy about it.
Are these actual ones?
Yeah, no, I think these are actual ones. Yeah, I think these are actual ones. As the woman said, there was a swastika being flown at the march and things like this. So it's attracting, it's becoming a flashpoint for all kinds of political ideology. And so the question is, why is this coming about? How are they even getting there? So I thought I'd look into it. It turns out the US government runs a Haitian family reunification parole program. That's nice, isn't it? The US government has resumed this, because of course Trump paused this, in 2022, allowing eligible Haitians with US citizen or legal permanent resident family member to bring their families over, which is great. That's wonderful. Until September 2023, there were 85,000 Haitian parole recipients, representing the largest group of beneficiaries of this process. So 85,000 of them.
Well, allow Britain to be a bit of a cautionary tale on this, that a lot of these family reunification efforts, you get, they're my fifth cousin twice removed. There's about 25 people living under the same roof because, we're all just one big happy family.
Yeah.
All of my cousins, they don't look anything like me, but we're related, I promise.
Also, let's reunify 20,000 Haitians with literally no one from their family. In a place in Ohio City.
Yep. And then you can look more on the ground where you've got something like this. There's an article speaking to a multi-service business called Doc Assist Services LLC. Doc. Was there anyone from Haiti who had Doc? Anyone? Oh,
I think there might have been, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Sarah Janvier helps Haitians fleeing a humanitarian crisis to relocate in Ohio. She was born in Haiti but hasn't been able to go back. Every time she says, we plan to travel, there's just something going on. It's either kidnapping or shootings or gas issues or all types of safety and insecurity issues. There's a lot of chaos going on, just in general. A lot of families displaced. A lot of families have been separated due to, persecution or issues the country is facing. Right, okay, I can't wait to have as many of these people living as possible.
Yeah, it's ridiculous,
Amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And so Haiti's awful. Let's bring them here.
Yeah, well, she says if they can kill a president, then, that being an accomplished act of crime, then people of the country have just felt really insecure. So bandits, gang members, corruption in the police system, it's just made it easier for them to be able to let the country go downhill. And so it sounds like they need help, right? It sounds like they need someone to come in and fix the problem. But she says something has to change, but she's also wary of foreign intervention.
But will foreign intervention violate the human rights of cannibals and bad people?
Well, maybe the gang members would be locked up. Honestly, you want something like a Bukele from El Salvador just to go in and just be like, look, no, we're just going to lock them all up because they are terrorizing the entire country. But she says, no, I don't want foreign intervention because that might solve the problem. And the thing is, if the problem gets solved, how many refugees does she get paid to bring into Springfield, Ohio? Her entire business model is predicated on chaos, destruction, and death in Haiti.
Well, also, the best way to have Haitians unified with their family is if they stay in Haiti.
Or you would think that. But she says, well, look, at this point, you have to leave it in the hands of the competent leaders in Haiti and give them the chance to make the right decisions for their country. One, what competent leaders? How did it come to this position if your leaders are competent? But two, didn't your president just get shot? Aren't the gang members terrorizing everyone? Aren't the police all corrupt from your own statements? What competent leaders? It seems that you may need some outside help here.
It's pretty much a failed state, isn't it?
It seems to be a failed state, yeah. But she wants them to just move to the United States instead. You also have the Haitian Community Network, which is HACON. Their mission is to be the bridge that connects the Haitian community with the right services and resources. And so they are there to support the Haitian community, unite the diaspora under one umbrella, which is wonderful. I mean, again, who do you think they get money from? And of course, you have them ministering to the community. For example, they put them in substandard housing in Columbus, Ohio. And this then cost the locals millions because they had to rehouse them. Because they were in an apartment home called Colonial Village. 800 of them were crammed in, like 15 in an apartment. And so the city had to spend $1 million being like, okay, we have to put them somewhere else. We can't allow them to live like this.
Well, they wouldn't be living like that in Haiti, would they?
No, and of course you have local churches welcoming them that are becoming Haitianized, I suppose you'd call it. Because why wouldn't they be? A third of the towns are now Haitian.
It frustrates me how much churches are sort of quislings against the sort of will of their own country.
Yeah, and the good of the people they're meant to be caring for. But what's interesting, though, I found this, and very interesting here, is they're not leaving their politics at home. Some native Haitians like Jean Manuel are worried about loved ones living in the country in crisis. I don't know one Haitian that does not watch the news. We sleep on the news and wake up on the news. It's sad. I don't see how it's going to resolve because you can't go in and kill everyone. I don't see how it's going to resolve. But I would really start from the guys in the suits, the politicians. I would start with them first, not the ones in the street with the guns, because most of them don't own it. Right. So he's lamenting that you can't just kill everyone that's causing the problem. He'd like to kill the politicians. And he's all the Haitians are very interested in the news. Not very democratic.
No.
It's also a bit confused.
It's a little bit confused, but that's just I'd like to kill all the politicians, but I mean,
that's what he's saying, by the way.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Yeah. So just, random Haitian, instant jumps to political violence. So, okay. But they say, we're sad to see what Haiti becomes, and we all have the hope that Haiti will be the place to retire because we love the place. So, that sounds great. Anyway, so a bunch of people from Springfield, Ohio were claiming bonkers stuff that Kathy Young here points out. Naomi Wolf is retweeting totally normal Haitian immigrants ate my daughter's cat stuff that totally really happened. I mean, there was a video of it. I'm not going to play.
Please don't show it.
I'm not going to play. But as you can see, there's a woman in the foreground there with something on the floor that thankfully you can't see, but that's a beheaded cat. And later on in the video, it shows a woman getting arrested from beheading the cat.
Well, I mean, there are also examples in Italy of an African immigrant basically barbecuing a cat outside of a tube station, just outside of the entrance.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are lots of other examples. I mean, Zero Hedge here doing a good job of just being like, what is going on here? And just quotes from locals.
That looks like a duck.
It's a Canada goose by the looks of it, which, to be fair, if I had to pick a bird, that would be the kind, because they're very aggressive.
But also, there's probably
like Haitian kitchen.
There's probably a lot of meat on a goose as well. But during a city commission on August 27th, one local resident said that Haitians were grabbing ducks from the parks, cutting their heads off and eating them. I hope they were cooking them. Another local resident posted to a Facebook group that their neighbour had a cat go missing and he'd see it hanging from a branch like you do with the deer for butchering, and the Haitians were carving it up for meat. There can't be that much meat on a bloody cat. Another local told the city that she can't take it anymore as Haitian immigrants are littering on her yard and harassing her and her husband. So this is what you get when you're town is just an economic zone. This is the imperial mindset of the current people who rule us. You're an economic unit, and if you're not producing enough, then they'll bring in people to replace you who do.
I hope you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, and if you want to see what else we're up to, Harry produced a video on the history of the gay rights movement, and if you want to see what else we're up to, you can follow us on Twitter where we post links to everything else. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.